Well, welcome back to From the Pages, and this time we cross the Atlantic into the sharper, smarter, more opinionated world of Power Slam. Issue 19, February 1996, where the cover alone sets the tone with Ric Flair drenched in sweat and defiance beneath the immortal headline, One More Time, immediately telling you this is not a glossy house magazine, but a wrestling journal that argues, critiques, and documents history with a raised eyebrow and a clenched fist, the price stamped at £1.99. The promise loud and clear that inside you will find In Your House 5 dissected move by move. The year 1995 judged, rewarded, and torn apart. Japan and Europe given equal footing with America, and Steve Austin standing on the edge of reinvention. And before a single feature begins, the reader is greeted by the familiar Power Slam ritual, the request spot inviting fans to vote for future pinups. This month, Alex Wright selected by readers across England, names and towns proudly listed. A reminder that this magazine is a conversation, not a sermon. Before the contents page lays out its mission with blunt honesty, Finn Martin analyzing the successes and failures of the WWF's mini pay-per-view experiment through In Your House 5, the 1995. Reader awards finally tallied, the year in pictures promising a full-color rewind, WR seizing control from NJPW to host Super J Cup 2, Steve Austin moving from one extreme to the other, Ric Flair once again proving you never write him off, and the regulars anchoring everything with From the Top, Stateside, Q&A, Manners Matt musings, letters, centerfold, and the knowing farewell of See Ya. And then From the Top opens the magazine in a proper Power Slam fashion, Finn Martin abandoning the lone wolf approach and instead assembling a staff consensus for the first ever Power Slam Staff Awards. Arguments admitted, compromises acknowledged, credibility foregrounded, Wrestler of the Year awarded not to a North American icon but to Manami Toyota. Praise for a year of relentless excellence across all Japan women. Classics with Aja Kong, Dynamite Kansai, Kyoko Inoue, Akira Hokuto, and her role as the centerpiece of a booming promotion. Match of the year crowned as Mitsuharu Misawa versus Toshiaki Kawada from April 6th in Okayama. A 30-minute draw framed as inconclusive but magnificent. Feud of the year awarded to Raven versus Tommy Dreamer. Lauded for episodic brutality and emotional continuity. Babyface of the year given to Atsushi Onita with box office logic laid bare. Heel and character of the year handed to Raven for his chilling transformation. Tag Team of the Year to the Public Enemy, Card of the Year to AJW Wrestling Queendom 95, with SummerSlam unfavorably invoked for contrast, and then the knives come out with Sid named Most Abysmal Wrestler, Nasty Boys versus Harlem Heat crowned the worst match, Joey Styles praised as Commentator of the Year, and ECW declared Promotion of the Year, the entire section reading less like hype and more like a manifesto, before the magazine floods the senses with what's going down. Page is dense with late-breaking news from every corner of the wrestling world. WWF scrambling for fresh faces ahead of the Royal Rumble. Negotiations with veterans and outsiders. Vader committing verbally. Ultimate Warrior talks collapsing. Steve Austin debuting as the ringmaster with the Ted Old belt. Goldust's controversial program with Razor Ramon souring locker rooms. Cactus Jack poised for reinvention. In Your House 5 revealed to have drawn a dismal buy rate. UCW firing back with billionaire Ted's Wrestling War Room. The Stu Hart anniversary show detailed match by match. Shawn Michaels' assault charges clarified. Medusa dumping the WWF women's title into a bin on Nitro. ECW, CWA, NJPW, FMW, and Michinoku Pro results pouring in like ticker tape. Drawing pins counted by the tens of thousands. Budokan Hall sellouts noted. With reverence, all of it relentless, global, and unapologetically nerdy before Stateside hands the pen to Ian Robinson for a deep dive into the moral panic surrounding UFC Ultimate, politicians posturing, journalists clutching pearls, Dan Severn methodically dismantling opponents. The Octagon defended not as spectacle but as misunderstood sport. And then Q&A swings from brutal honesty to dark humor as Finn Martin explains Jim Neidhart's exit, Kevin Nash's domestic life, Undertaker's marriage, Haku and Meng's shared identity, the dangers of barbed wire and thumbtack matches, and why DiBiase will likely never wrestle again before Manners Matt Musings detonates in pure stately Wayne Manor excess, a sprawling literary rant tearing into hypocrisy, fandom, Johnny B. Bad's frisbees, Fatu's slogans, Lex Luger's allegiances, Randy Savage's twitchy brilliance, referees, managers, and humanity itself. A column that feels less like wrestling commentary and more like punk rock philosophy. And then at last, the magazine reaches its feature core as Finn Martin breaks down in Your House 5 from Hershey, Pennsylvania, analyzing the entire mini pay per view concept, admitting that the original belief that cheaper shows would not damage the Big Four had been proven wrong, buy rates falling, novelty fading. The card itself dissected with praise where earned and criticism where deserved. Wrestling treated as an evolving business rather than a sacred cow. While elsewhere, the Year in Pictures revisits 1995 in lush color. Super J War documents Japan's Super J Cup shifting hands from one extreme to the other. Chronicles Steve Austin's jump and rebirth, and one more time closes the circle with Ric Flair once again standing tall on December 27th, proof that greatness never truly expires. Before the centerfold crowns Shawn Michaels wrestler and Babyface of the Year letters, pages argue Goldust, Brett versus Shawn, and the strange humor of the wrestling world. And Siya looks forward to challengers lining up to dethrone champions. And when the back cover finally arrives, Power Slam issue 19 leaves behind a feeling not of nostalgia, but of immediacy. A magazine that captured wrestling exactly as it was in early 1996. Messy, global, political, brilliant, stupid, violent, and alive. And if you're digging these deep dives into wrestling history from outside the WWF bubble, hit like, subscribe, and let me know which Power Slam issue you want next. Because there's a whole world beyond the ropes waiting in the pages.